Thanks for checking out this horror film review from the BananaLaser Horror Podcast. You can find our full archive of every unedited show at horrorphilia.com. Also, subscribe to BananaLaser on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. It says YouTube. Well, click subscribe. Thanks, and keep on banana-ing.
Hello!
All right, assholes, we are back from the break, and we're back with the sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween, and that is cleverly titled Halloween 2. And that came out 2 years after Rob Zombie's remake in 2009. And this movie already, this movie is, I know we kind of trashed the first Halloween, but this movie is so polarizing, I think, because Zombie takes it off in such a different direction that people just they can't handle it. They freak out. Whereas the first movie that he did, he elaborated on a lot of stuff, but he stuck to Carpenter's kind of main storyline so much that was, ultimately a letdown, I think. But this one, he finally was able to do, have more creative freedom, make the movie that he wanted to, and he definitely did something different. And like it or love it, it's a unique Halloween film, definitely. He definitely doesn't retread really nothing from the previous movies. I kind of thought maybe, really this movie would be a prime place to stick some Thorn cult, but he doesn't even go there.
Well, he did stick some hospital in there, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. And in fact, that probably was some of my favorite stuff in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
The whole opening and stuff like that is some of my. It's similar to the first movie, whereas I really enjoyed the first 30 minutes, and it's the same with this one. The whole open works great, and I actually think that he actually made some suspense work in this movie. Not a lot, but there's a few moments of it, and I'll elaborate them more on it later, but there's a few moments of suspense, and I think it works good. What's your guys' overall thought of this movie as a collective, him making this after the first one?
Well, real quick, do you guys have any knowledge about the how that came to be? Because wasn't there a lot of backlash about the remake of Halloween, and no one even thought he would even touch this again, and he came back to do the sequel. It's like, anybody know about?
I know something. He wasn't going to do it.
Right.
And they said, we're going to make it without you if you're not going to do it. And then someone else got attached to it somehow or something or other. And he fucking changed his mind and went to them. And basically he didn't want someone else fucking with his vision from the first movie. He wanted to do it. And I think in a way he wanted to kind of right the wrong, because he does kind of tie up, when this is all over, it kind of seems like part one and this movie are even though they're radically different, it just seems like they're one whole movie, almost like a Kill Bill situation, or like they try to do with the hatchets and things like that. That's the impression I get towards the end of the movie. There's a lot of callbacks to the first one, and I think he intentionally tried to right whatever wrongs he did. I think he was turned off. And he did get backlash, and the story I got was that they were going to have someone else do it, even if he didn't want to. They said, you know what, if you're going to do it, fuck it, I'll do it. Whoever else they signed to do it didn't end up doing it. Rob Zombie stepped in and said, I want to do it, and they said, okay.
I'm glad. That's awesome.
So much.
Overall, I think it's great. I'm glad he came back and continued in this fashion. I'm glad Tyler Mane came back. They couldn't find a kid ugly enough to match the first kid, but I think, and the reason, if anybody doesn't know, the reason Deg Farce, or whatever his name is, wasn't in this is because he had some crazy growth spurt, and he was crazy tall, and it just didn't work standing next to his dead mom or whatever. I could go without the horse and giving his wife a job, all that kind of thing.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind it.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I don't mind those elements because I understand what he's trying to do. but at the same time, I think it was overdone. We didn't need it every 6 minutes in the movie. She didn't need to be interjected, and we didn't. It's really forced symbolism. I mean, I talked about it with the first movie, but this movie opens with the quote of the fucking horse and what it means and all this stuff. It's like, dude, we fucking get it. You don't have to cram it down our throats. He can't do subtle, and so it's just overused. Yeah, I don't think he has to employ his wife for every fucking movie. Get the fuck out of here. But, if he didn't, she wouldn't have a career. So.
But, this is it about his wife. She gets so hated on by so many people, and I think the reason she gets hated on is solely because that he puts her in every movie. And that people think that he always has to find a reason to stick her in, and that the whole white horse angle with her there was just a reason for him to put her in this movie. And maybe they're right about that for this movie, but I do not. I've never understood all the negative backlash about her. I don't think she's a bad actress. Do I think she's fucking very good? No, but compared to other horror movies, the tons we've seen, there really isn't a whole lot of performances to write home about. I'm not saying that that they're shit actresses. I'm just saying I think she gets a lot of unfair criticism, and I just think that it's for all the wrong reasons.
I agree.
But, yeah, really good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, there's some crazy creepy moments. Like Michael will be walking to kill somebody, and in the background you'll see her just staring at him as a ghost, and you'll see the little kid next to her. And that's weird too. It's like the child of Michael died, and he's a ghost.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what that is or what is exactly. And clearly, the what's that called? The tagline. It's like family is forever. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like I said in the last segment, that this is all about bringing the family together again, and the only way to reunite them is in death. That was his whole goal. He knew that when he goes to show her the picture, and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and he realized that this ain't gonna happen in real life. So now the only other way it's gonna happen is in death, and he didn't understand the concept that when you die, you don't actually get to hang out with everybody anymore. You're dead, and there's nothing else. But
okay, well, why did he wait then? Because this movie takes place
2 years later.
Yeah, it takes place 2 years later. So he skipped a Halloween essentially.
Yeah, he did.
His mom in spirit form is talking to him. The days leading up to Halloween, and she's prodding him, saying, it's time to do this. It's Halloween, whatever. Well, what happened last year? Was it a bad year for Halloween? I don't fucking get it. What's he been doing?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
it's always the next year, always, and just for no reason, they made it 2 years, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
well, there's a reason. In the theatrical cut, it was 1 year, and it doesn't.
Is that right?
Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense because at one point the guy says to go to Annie's house, and he goes, "Oh, come on! Last year when I was there, she."
Oh yeah.
And it wouldn't have been last year. That never happened a year or something.
But I do recall that happened. They said that in the director's cut that the year before, the same thing happened. That he was very overprotective, of course, and then had the cop stationed at their house, and then she whatever the hell he said, he kicked her in the ass, or she kicked him in the ass, or something. Yeah. But why was it 2 years? That's strange.
That seems like a very strange thing to change from theatrical to no. My vision was to have it 2 years, not 1 year. That's bullshit. Like what? I don't get that at all.
No.
We have all these dream sequences. A good portion of this movie is dream sequences and stuff like that, and visions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And one in particular is. And this one, I haven't seen this since I watched. This is the first time I've seen this since I watched Lords of Salem, and the scene where Laurie has a dream and she sees her real mother, and it's snowing. It's that scene. It looks pretty cool until you see a table with her laying on it, and then you got these fucking weird pumpkin head people.
Right.
Like, that is like, that's the shit he did in Lords of Salem. Like,
Right.
oh, isn't this cool? It's like, that's cool for a music video, but here it doesn't make any kind of sense.
Well, she's in a box banging on it, right? Trying to get out.
Yeah, and then it shows her in a fucking glass coffin.
Yeah, that.
And all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Well, that's symbolic of that she's trapped in this family. I don't know. I mean, it means something. Dreams mean something. I guess that you have to read into that one.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's what he does in Salem, and that's what he does kind of in Corpses. And I like them. But not everyone is going to like them. But it's like Alex said, it's all symbolic, and sometimes you might get the reference, sometimes you might not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about the snow scenes when it's black and white, and the snow's falling real slowly in the back? Those are fucking beautiful scenes.
Yeah,
it does look cool. Yeah,
this is a fucking slasher movie with fucking sick ass gore and fucking brutal violence and all this shit, and yet you still see scenes like that in it. That's what makes this a good movie. It's unusual,
What about when the girl's running through the woods and the light comes with this one tree straight in the middle, and it's all this like white light illuminating behind all these trees, and like the way that the light travels to the edge of the screen is like beautiful shots, man.
Yeah, it's filmed well. This definitely looks even better than the first one, and I think that's because he had, all this dream stuff to kind of play with, and and the ghost mother aspect. Is she a ghost? I don't know. Laurie sees her too by the end of the film, so it's like, that's not really explained. I think we're just left to pick up the pieces of it. Whether it works for you or not, that's another story.
It's Rob Zombie's third act, like every fucking movie.
For lots of people, it doesn't work, and in fact, for lots of people, this entire movie doesn't work because of this shit.
Boy, it gets hated on. It does.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, big time.
It's like Season of the Witch, same thing.
Yeah. Fuck, I would say even more so because
I would too.
I mean, maybe now, like we're talking about it kind of positively. I think more and more people are coming around to it. But when it came out, it was just such a shock factor.
I remember one of my friends, a huge Halloween fan. The way we met, I showed up at my company 7 years ago, and we were in a company truck and just hanging out, waiting for something. And then he said, "So what do you do? What are you into?" And I said, "Horror movies or whatever." I said I was doing something about it. I forgot why I even mentioned it, but I said, horror movies. He goes, best horror movie ever. He points to me, and I go, Halloween? And he goes, yup, good. You're good by me, man. I was like, cool. So he goes and sees this 3 or 4 years later, I guess, and he comes into the building, and I go, hey, what's up? He goes, hey, man, saw Halloween 2, Rob Zombie? I go, yeah. He goes, I hate Rob Zombie. And I just looked at him like, what do you mean? Like, why? You didn't think it was good? I just couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I thought it was the movie all the everybody was waiting for. I thought this is a great modern take on Halloween. Like, what else? I don't know.
They can't separate themselves from the original franchise. That's the problem. This movie and Halloween, both of Rob Zombie's movies tie in together perfectly. But you cannot look at this guy walking around with a big beard, looking like a bum, and doing all the shit that happens in this movie and compare it to anything in John Carpenter's and the original franchise. If you do, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. And people just can't fucking separate themselves, especially the first time they see it. That's what I think the problem is.
Yeah, and
it's
they don't
an excellent movie. It's great. But
they don't like Laurie and the way she screams and cries a lot. And they don't understand. The thing that people don't get about that is that you're not necessarily supposed to like what you see.
Right.
It's not about you. It's about Laurie and what she's been through and how she handles it. It's not what you think about it. So, like, people, like, what you're not supposed to love, like, any of her reaction to how she deals with what happened to her. You know?
No, but it's realistic.
Right, exactly.
She would become, not every time, but you know what I'm saying? You could easily see that happening in real life. The girl, I think that's why they made it 2 years also, to show the extent of her deterioration, that she's gone on to this, and now she's working at this record store, and she's fucking a pill popper, and she's fucked up in that, and she's a real bitch. And the whole scene, it's dreadful with fucking her and the relationship now in this movie between her and Annie. and the way they're living and everything. And the same thing that could easily happen in real life, and that's what's good about this movie, about these characters, right?
Brilliant, dude. Like the character
Loomis?
progression is spot on with everybody, including Loomis, so whether you hate him or not. Like, and the best friggin' writing that Zombie could have done, and here's the difference too. If you notice, it ain't babble bullshit; it's real writing, and that's why it's stronger. And the great writing choice he took was when she said that every time she looks at Annie's face, she the anger and everything that comes with it, because she loves her, but just and then she has the dream about killing her.
Yeah, that's one thing that they do great with this movie is the relationship with Annie Brackett and Laurie. They're like polar opposites of how you come out of a scenario like this, and for them to do that with the characters, it really works great. They redeem themselves for making them terrible characters in the first movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
If it's not Michael Myers, let's say that Rob Zombie made some other random slasher movie about some other killer. Any fucking thing you can come up with. He's made a movie about a killer, and there happened to be a survivor and a doctor, not Loomis, but something similar. And the next movie was this, nobody would care.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. They would say it's cool what they did with the characters in the next movie, and, oh, wow, that's different, and look at this, they would focus on the positives. They wouldn't, say, oh, what the fuck, this isn't Halloween, And
right.
That's what they're doing.
Well, you mentioned Loomis. Now, how do you guys like the progression of his character? It's definitely a much different take than anything done before. And oh my God, I mean, he is a fucking douchebag in this fucking movie. Absolutely, 100%. But
Weird Al came off better than him. That's when you know you're at the pits of life.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
And you said douchebag, and that literally is the word I have written down on my notes. Loomis, douchebag.
Yeah, and that pisses a lot of people off. It's like, notes. Oh, you take Loomis and you make him this asshole and stuff like that. Well, it's like, he's got to do something, and you're supposed to hate him, okay? You're not supposed to, still like him like you did maybe in the first movie or anything like that, but you're supposed to hate him, and then that way he can have a redeemable moment come the climax, so... But not only that, he gets some fucking great lines in the beginning of this movie with his publicist and shit.
Yeah.
He's, when I want a response out of you, I'll beat it out of you.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That's fame or something like goes to somebody's head happens all the fucking time in society. It's a very interesting take on another character.
It's been done before. It's the Gale Weathers bullshit, like
right on, sure.
It's exactly the same thing in this day and age. Like any time, like we all know the freaking lawyers of the OJ trial. I mean, you get famous from shit like this. You know what I mean? Even the freaking guy hanging out in Nicole Simpson's guest house,
right?
Kato Kalin or something. Yeah, like this isn't
God.
news. That this is a progression of things like this. It's just like, and it's great because you get to use that with things like when the guy was online and he was signing books about this shit, and this guy's profiting off of that, and this guy's daughter was killed. And he's like, you don't even know, you don't even recognize her, and you're making freaking $100,000 right now with your book sales and shit like that. Like
one thing I did love is how they pointed out how Loomis essentially, and I've talked about this with the other movies, he failed as a psychiatrist, okay? He worked with this guy for years, and he even says in this movie, he's like, Michael looked up to me like a father figure, and I fell into that role. Well, you failed your son, dude. You could not rehabilitate him, and it happened at such a young age. I would believe you would be able to pull somebody back somewhat from that state, and he did nothing. He failed miserably, and I'm glad that in this movie they call him out on it big time and essentially say that he murdered all those people.
Right. Well, they tried doing that in the original series which I thought was retarded. I always hated it when a bracket was like, "You let him out. You let him." Like, all right, dude. Like, really, man? Like, I just explained to you that he escaped and he's running around Haddonfield, and I let him out. Like, I don't follow. why is anyone led to believe that that's the case of why Michael's parading around Haddonfield 15 years later? I don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We never discussed that. That's true. Why would he get the blame? Like he's fucking, like he's the one that has him chained up, or he's working security at the fucking place. You know, the responsibility falls on him. Come on. But it does. I'll tell you, in that scene though, getting back to the signing and the girl's father, that's fucking heart wrenching shit. Fucking that guy and that would happen. If that happened to me, I can't say that I wouldn't go in that place with a gun and fucking be that angry about it if it was my daughter. You know? Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of heavy emotional shit in this movie, especially later with the Brackets. But you know.
Oh my God! When Sheriff Brackett punches him out at the end after Annie dies, you know, he takes out all that aggression on him.
Yeah. That's
emotional, man, because you know he blames him for everything, and then he just wants to show up. You know, he's instantly going to think you're a fame whore. You're just showing up because
the cameras are on this.
Yeah, there's something to exploit out of this.
Never thought about
he's like,
that. Wow.
yeah, you know, and that's an intense moment. But you know, Loomis is like, hey, I'm just trying to redeem myself. I realize I fucked up, and in fact, another great Loomis moment is the scene right before that. Before he shows up, he's standing there. It's after he watched the televised version of that show where he was humiliated. But he's standing there. He takes a sip of wine, and he says to himself, like, "You're an asshole." Yep. He's talking to himself, and he fucking realizes that, like, I've done wrong. Doing all this, exploiting all this was wrong.
Stock traders start talking about treasury yields, pay attention.
You're an asshole. Haddonfield, 18.
This is breaking news.
This is Chopper 2. I want to take you below. The situation is just incredible. I can't believe what I'm reporting, but a man who police believe to be deceased serial killer Michael Myers has taken a hostage now identified as Laurie Strode. Miss Strode allegedly shot and killed Myers herself after being abducted on Halloween night.
And I fucking love that, dude, because it gave him a dynamic that you've never gotten with Loomis in any other, you know, Halloween movie whatsoever. I love that tiny little tidbit, that one line. I loved it.
I do too, and I've heard people complain about it, saying that it's a little bit cheesy, that he just had that moment of realization right there, and then the thing comes on the screen next. I agree, it does work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the original series, Loomis, let's face it, I don't even want to talk negative in this way, but Loomis is a one-dimensional nut job. I mean, he's just interested in running around with Michael his whole life, and he seems to have nothing to do besides that. He doesn't come off as very humanistic. It's just a character. And this is one time you get a different look in. Like, he is a real guy who has a real reaction to what happened. Like, Loomis seems to have no reaction. The original Loomis, other than he has to be, you let him out, he should have been locked up, you did this without telling me. Like, it's all about Michael, and this is character of Loomis. It's character development. This is spot on shit. He had a character arc. Unfortunately, it was like a Rob Dyer moment because he didn't actually do anything worthwhile when he got there. But
no.
But you know, he had that moment at least.
Look at
are we analyzing me?
Look, it's the wrong photograph. I mean, this is old Loomis. This is new.
Yes, well, old Loomis increases sales by 25%.
Look,
okay, so...
Well, I'm not going in there until you go get me a cup of PG Tips with a splash of milk, and I want it sizzling hot.
PG what? Tea? We don't have time. Fine, I'll go find you some.
That's the thing everyone's missing about this. The characters are incredible. It's Laurie's movie again. It wasn't Laurie's movie in the first one. I don't know what that was. I guess it was Michael's, and she, like we said, came in the third act. And Michael, the thing I didn't like about that in the first movie, which I kind of forgot to say, is that Michael isn't this blank shape anymore. He's a kid who grew up in a bad place, and you know everything. You know why he's doing everything. And I think in this movie, he's finally back to this, like, larger-than-life, evil on two legs, just fucking death machine that will just rip your fucking heart out. And it was, like, amazing. And at the same time, the dichotomy of the brilliance is that he's stripped down to a regular guy. He doesn't even have his mask on. He grunts. He talks. He has a purpose of what he wants to do. Like, there are so many things about this movie that are so far beyond anything we've seen. And people don't appreciate it. They're not ready for it.
No, you're right. They're not ready. That's it. They just Yeah, they don't understand.
Yeah, you mentioned the grunting. I mean, people will go off constantly on and on. Michael doesn't grunt.
He's grunting.
Like, yeah, exactly. But yeah, and the look of him, absolutely. The hillbilly fucking bum look is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wearing a mask anymore, but he's basically covered himself up with this coat and all this hair, so he's still hiding. But the look of it is it's even more menacing, I think, than with the mask on.
It's
absolutely
it's realistic.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just like any fucking crazy guy that can be walking around out there that you see that looks a little shady with a fucking hood and a big beard, or some homeless guy. You don't know what's going on in that guy's head. That is something in real life that people fear,
And if you think about it, like the original Myers character, like, come on, it's a little too consistent. You're always with the freaking mask on every minute, and you always have the same type of mask every time, no matter what you're doing.
Right.
That's a little dumb, man. Like,
It
what do you think
is.
about it? That's retarded.
Yeah, man.
Like, Michael has no progression at all. He doesn't do anything of...
What are you talking about? He went from eating dogs to eating rats. That's a progression, man.
Yeah, like,
He's a dog in this movie, by the way. He's back.
Oh, God, yeah, he is back.
Who else
as
but
he eats
Michael?
the dogs, someone's throwing up while he's eating the dog. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, the psychic connection is here. It's juxtaposed with the pizza scene, and that's a nice little scene, And then Laurie's eating the pizza while Michael's eating the dog. She throws up.
Right.
Well, they're trying to establish this link that they have now after they've been through this traumatic experience, I guess 2 years ago. Ever since then, they have some kind of connection that's unexplainable, really. But yeah, it's definitely it's funny how we're talking about a slasher movie. And we've been talking for 30 minutes. The only thing we've been talking about is character development. That is fucking awesome because, that's what you need to make a movie good. I mean, yeah, we love horror movies and horrific things and shit like that. But if you don't have the characters there and they're not written well and acted well and interesting, then fuck all the rest. We saw that in the first movie. It was terrible.
Right. And think of the depths that Laurie has gone into Laurie's character. I mean, even feeling like the classic "why did bad things happen to good people?" She sits there and says, I've been good my whole life, and where the fuck has it got me? I don't give a shit no more. And good people do turn that way when bad things happen. They just say, "Fuck this, man. Life sucks." And blah blah. I'm just gonna fucking party and do drugs, this and that. Then you get to the part where Michael's body is missing from the ambulance, and it's never found, and the psychiatrist says you're fucked up because you have no closure. Yeah,
I would almost this movie I think is more brutal than the first one with a lot of its kills and stuff like that, but I would like even less. I think if there was some killing in the beginning and the entire movie was just about characters and Laurie's plight and all that, and then we get to the end and have violence there again, I would have enjoyed it even more so. Because to me it feels like the kills in the middle with the rabbit and red stuff and the hillbillies in the field, it feels forced. Now there's some cool kills in there, I guess. Yeah, I love them too, but they feel like, okay, it's been 15 minutes.
Right.
We need Michael to kill someone. Who can he kill? The guy who employed his mother. It's
right.
It
regardless to the plot.
Yes, exactly.
But they have to show it because it's a fucking slasher movie. This is the horror. This is what people come to see. Yeah, we're gonna do this, but hey, what the fuck? We got to kill some people. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. And but in its defense, yes, it isn't really integral to the plot, but when it's done, it's sure as fuck is done right, because the gore is over the top and the kills are just out of control,
You gotta look at the naked chick. Ooh, man, she was F-I-N-E fine. Yeah, she still looked fresh. I heard a story about a couple of meat wagon boys fucking corpses over in Essex. I ain't never had the urge till tonight.
Whoa, hey, whoa, come on, Rocket. even thinks he hears you joking about that, and then you're out of here on your ass.
I would never do it.
Huh?
I'm just saying. She still look good to me. Nice old titties are hanging out.
Come on, that's disgusting. Stop it now.
I got wood just zip-locking her up.
Stop. Shut up. Hey.
Huh?
What's the difference between jam and jelly?
I don't know. What?
You can't jelly your cock up a dead girl's ass. You're like, cow! What? Cow!
The fucking with the paramedics after they fucking crash the cow, which is always makes me laugh. And in fact, their whole conversation I just love, just about him talking about how I think it's Linda he's talking about. I don't know about how she's hot. And I would fuck her. I've heard about somebody. It's just
What's the
it's
difference
just funny.
between jam and jelly?
Jam and jelly, right?
It's great, and it's different because because these guys aren't total sleaze. Because one of them goes back and says, "Oh man, you're disgusting. I can't believe you," but he still jokes about it with him. So that seems more realistic.
Yes.
Whereas in like the first movie, the character would be just full tilt, and they'd both be just talking about fucking this girl, and then they probably try to do it, and then that would be it. But here they seem more realistic, which was great. But yeah, okay.
Like two dudes talking. You're right.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was like a callback to, I think, Bud and Jimmy from Halloween 2. Because remember how Bud's like a dirtbag and Jimmy didn't go for it? In this one, he didn't go for it, but then he's like, oh, all right, well, I have a joke about that too, by the way.
Right, yeah.
It's more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Absolutely.
I can't let us go further without talking about that nurse kill in the beginning, because I think it's one of the funniest things ever. And the same thing I was talking about in a couple other scenes about Michael floating down the river in 5 and everything else. And the same friend that I've seen all these movies with, him and I saw this movie together also, along with a few others. But we both fucking started laughing out loud at that scene because...
Oh, because she just walks out.
Yes, she just walks out for 20 seconds. What's going on? And then she turns around and lets out that shriek.
What do you think happened?
It's so fucking funny.
Do you think that he rammed a knife from under her chin up in her face or something? Like, what do you think he did to her?
I don't know, but he couldn't have slit her throat or she couldn't have screamed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why it's so fucking funny. But it's a dream, so there you go.
But let's talk about that whole thing.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal, man. Like, Zombie really knows how to start a movie off, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
It's now where does the dream start? Because is it just the hospital stuff? Because
she wakes up in the hospital.
We see Lori and Annie get taken to the hospital and they're getting operated on, which is it's pretty gruesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you see the whole paramedic scene with the crash and Michael escaping. Now, is that part of the dream, or does the dream then start once she wakes up kind of in the hospital and that whole chase? Is that the dream?
I like to think that Michael really escaped the way we see him escape.
Right.
But that's what I think.
That's what I was thinking too, but it's not really spelled out, so I just want to see what you guys thought.
You know what's cool about it is the fact that elements that it's a dream, that Nights in White Satin song in that same part of the video and the same part of the song is playing in 3 different places. So in her room,
wow, dude,
and the
I was
nurse's
going to
office.
ask you.
Right, and then in the fucking guy at the end when she stumbles into that guy's shack.
Buddy, it's so funny.
Right.
She's like, buddy.
Yeah.
I love how they give her a completely goofy name to shout out when she's like in dire straits, like, buddy.
Mr. Humperdinck?
Yeah. It's okay, honey. My name is Buddy, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, buddy. I'm your friend. Let me spell it out for you.
But
I'm a good guy.
Another crazy great choice of Rob Zombie. How eerie is that video? And the song. Like, wow, that's good.
Yeah, it works great, and it leaves you with the feeling. It's like, wait a minute, there's something amiss here, but doesn't come right out and say it, and so it just leaves you with that, wanting to know why, or something's wrong, something's amiss, and it's great. And even more so whenever she's running from Michael, she falls into the pit of bodies, and it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
is there really a fucking pit of bodies
Right.
out here? What is going on,
Yeah.
I thought all those elements, to me, worked great.
I'll tell you about the pit of bodies. I happened to watch some of this movie with my wife. She's never seen it at all, but she saw part one. So she watched maybe the first half hour with me, and she saw this part. And I go, what do you think about that? And she didn't know it was a dream yet, so I was kind of hinting at it. I go, some of this is gonna be explained later on, but what do you think about that? And she goes, that's a crematorium. She goes, they're supposed to be cremated, and that's the Jane Does and the John Does. And
What?
Yada. Well, that's what I actually thought, you know what? You might be right. That might be what.
Huh.
But then I watched the commentary after the first ended. I just happened to watch it. I was still eating. I had half an hour to kill, and I just played the commentary after the movie ended and started it over. And Rob said that there was an implication, and it was left out of the original, of theatrical,
Right.
but it was to be an implication that those are the fucking hospital workers that he fucking killed, wherever in the place, and she stumbled upon him.
Well, it was a pretty empty hospital. Like, it was more empty than in part two.
How about the way he kills the fucking... It's completely off the topic, but it's Michael's viciousness when he kills that nurse after all, and he stabs her over and over again. He's lifting up the fucking knife. That's a badass kill.
Yeah, people love that kill.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah. Now, and also, whenever he's at the little security shack with Buddy, I was talking about suspense kind of at the top. There was actual, even though I've seen this before, there was actual moments of suspense here for me whenever Buddy finds her and then he leaves, and there's that lingering moment. It's like, okay, is he coming back? When's Michael's going to come in? When's that going to happen? I was actually in suspense for the first time in probably any Rob Zombie movie. And so, yeah, I kudos to him for making me think that. That was good.
Yeah, and how violent when he was chopping through to get in.
Him with an axe is a great play because you can just feel the weight of it when he's holding it and swinging it. Oh, yeah, it was a smart move. I'm glad that after he killed the nurse, he left the knife there and then went on to get the axe.
Nice.
Great fucking weapon.
Yeah,
and not gory, but great regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like how even he has technique. He even knew when he hit with the axe, he pulled in and took more wall out as he pulled the axe back to him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lumberjack.
Yeah. He picked up that technique.
I did not agree to this backdrop. I mean, what's next? Heading over to the cemetery and dancing on the victims' graves?
Look, I don't think you quite understand what I'm trying to accomplish here.
Well, fair enough. I don't. Please explain it to me. I would really like to understand.
I'm selling the sizzle, not the steak.
The sizzle?
Yes.
The sizzle. Mm-hmm. It's bad taste is what it is, okay? And it's just gonna add fuel to the lynch mob fire.
Bad taste? Bad taste? God, it's business, woman! Business! Besides, bad taste is the petrol that drives the American dream.
Well, I think it's a mistake.
Oh, yeah, you do you?
Yes.
Well, when I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. Here, now take that and go sit in the car. Go on, get your ass in there. Okay, hi, where do you want me?
Fuck. What other kills do we got? We got those fucking hillbillies.
Yeah.
And now these guys are back to being assholes.
Yep.
That like the guys were in the rape scene. They're just fucking douchebags. But at the same time, they've seen Michael before. Okay.
Yeah, they had a reason to be assholes. They said he keeps going in there and stealing their shit or something like that.
But they took it too far. They just kept fucking pummeling them with it. The girl was right. She was like, come on, enough's enough. You gave him a couple shots with the bat or whatever the fuck you did. Just, you got your point, though. You don't got to fucking beat the guy half to death over your stock. I don't know.
And then he pulls a Danny Trejo on the girl because she was, in favor of him and, leave him alone. And that didn't mean shit to him. He's just like, whatever, you're dead too. And he stabbed her pretty violently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was kind of the same, very similar to the nurse kill.
Yeah.
Really, he's going really high up with that knife, to really come down with some force. It's kind of funny. It kind of makes me think of in the original Halloween, the killing of Judith Myers. And the coming up of the knife just really high and then coming down. Yeah, every time he stabs somebody in this movie, you really feel the weight of the knife and the power. And and that goes with the grunting and the sound. he's more humanized, I guess, in this movie, and
although
that works.
He's like a shark out to kill,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a weird thing, man. We just, interviewed Danielle Harris, and we talked about her kill. Like, how great was it to not show that kill? Because to a Halloween fan who loves her, are glad to even see her back, even though it makes no sense that she even survived that first movie, but just to see her back and to know what she is to this franchise, and she's more than a gratuitous kill. What's going on in our heads far exceeds what we could have seen, although it's strange that he chose to show us bits and pieces after, as they were walking up the stairs to find her. One weird scene, though, like, as they're showing him killing her, in the cuts, there's one part where he just, like, pulls a bookshelf down, and everyone's like, does messing the room up get included with this whole killing you thing? Like,
he hates reading. It's like, fucking books, I hate them.
I'm gonna kill you
read.
And fuck this shelf here. And
I hate this lamp. And once she finally dies, I watched this with my girlfriend. She was like, well, he finally killed her, because she watched all those other movies with me, and it's just like, it holds more weight than a single movie that has, just because it's Danielle Harris, and it also whenever Sheriff Brackett comes in. And how powerful that is when he finds her dead, and they show old video of Danielle Harris as a little girl.
Yeah,
and it kind of almost seems strange, but it works so well because of how big she is to the franchise.
And also,
it's just crazy.
It's definitely from Part 5. It's fucking footage like they were on the set. Because that dog's with her. That dog that was in Part 5, whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just like in Part 1 of the nurse kill, he goes deaf again. Like, everything's deafening. Like, when you find your daughter like that in blood and dead.
Oh, yeah, the sound drops out.
Yeah.
It was great. Mm-hmm.
I love that stuff,
I loved it, yeah.
Oh, it's great. But it weighs so heavy, that scene, when he sees her, and then he's picturing that old stuff, and he just breaks down. It's nowhere near. It's they tried to do it in House of a Thousand Corpses when he opens up, and it's a good scene also when the guy comes to that one place and opens up the barn and sees his daughter and he's flashing back, and then he gets killed. He's thinking about when she was a little girl and everything. But it's not as serious because they're playing that song. I remember you. It's a little goofy, It's a little sad but a little goofy, so it doesn't work. But the way it's played out in this movie, it's fucking one of the most heart-wrenching scenes you'll ever see in a slasher movie. The father loses his daughter after everything. Oh man, it's a real downer. It works really well, and it's classy. I mean, it's hard to say that it's classy because it's a bloody fucking mess. But when you see his reaction and everything else and the flashbacks, boy, it's
because we care about the characters finally, and it pulls on your heartstrings finally. That's what you need in order to make a good movie. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, isn't it weird? They're the same characters from the first movie, but because they were developed properly now, we care. And, like, I could never imagine caring. Remember, this is the same annoying asswipe who put the bagels around her tits in front of her mom and fingered it and shit. Like, this is the same girl that we care about later on. And Annie is the same moron who said, hey, asshole, my daddy's the fucking sheriff. Go crawl under a rock. Like, I would never imagine that I'd care about this girl. And look at this. Like, it was one of the most powerful scenes of the goddamn franchise. Dude, that's phenomenal. That's an accomplishment and a half. Rob Zombie, dude, think about it. If he didn't make this movie, this would just be like another bland, boring piece of shit like Resurrection, because that's the styles you'd be getting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just think of this. Think of the talent you got.
I'm sure.
You're right, man.
I'm sure we'll get something like that soon. I mean, the Akkads or the Weinsteins or whoever owns this is going to make another one of these. It, and we'll see how that turns out. But how about another kill? And this is my banana split right here. Is the fucking guy who works at the Rabbit in the Red, who's picked on and fucking Big Lou tells him to take the trash out. Mm-hmm. Now, to me, it makes no sense for Michael to kill this guy. He could have just walked inside and done his business. He doesn't even know this asshole.
Right.
But when he stomps his fucking head in, and you see how his body reacts, it looks like a real fucking person. I mean, it looks fucking so real. It's shocking, and that's my banana split. It's crazy to think that a Michael Myers kill, my favorite one, is one where he doesn't use a blunt object.
Right.
But it's so brutal, man, because it looks so realistic, so brutal.
I agree. I think Alex agrees too, because I know how he feels about this.
No,
really?
Enough, the kill
face smash.
It's right after that one is my favorite.
The face smash, right?
Dude, I remember being in the theater, man, when he kept bashing her head over and over. I was laughing my ass off. I'm like doubled over, and I look around to see if everybody else thinks this is also funny, and nobody was laughing with me. And I was like, all right. And I just kind of sat back in the chair. I was like, I think this is great. Like, that was such a good time. It was really reminiscent of how I felt in Jason X when he froze the girl's face and bashed it on the table. Like, that's the same feeling of, like, bravo, funny as fuck. Yes. That was great. Thank you for that.
I was cheering it on. I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. Oh. And you're right. But the only reason, those two scenes are very, they're similar in brutality.
Yeah.
What I like, why I consider the one to be the banana split over that one is simply because of the aftermath. When fucking you see the real damage he does when the guy and the girl come out and they see him hanging there. It's not even a fucking face anymore or a head. It's just this mashed up, looks like a fucking somebody smashed a pumpkin.
Yeah, it was great, dude.
Wow. But yes, I that's a close second. That whole scene at the Rabbit in Red is tremendous.
And the reason he did that is because weren't they advertising like you should come here because this is the place where
mothers. Yeah, the show. Okay, so that makes more sense now. Yeah. I didn't get that.
That's right. Yeah, it's his home of the famous home of the Michael Myers' mother.
It was more
the picture's still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense now. Yeah, I like that better now.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, no shit.
and how about that stripper, man? She's definitely the banana I'm gonna peel in this movie. When she's, even when she's getting brutally fucking murdered. And she's butt-ass naked, man. She's got a fucking rockin' bod.
Wow, you like her? No shit.
Yeah, you didn't?
She's okay. She just seems a little...
What do you want, Harley? You want that chick?
Oh, yes, of course I want
her. Yeah, that's my chick. I like Harley.
Really?
I love everything about her. Oh, I love the way she talks, the way she looks, her fucking... Oof, yeah, man, Harley's fucking good to go. I said it before.
Too easy.
Yeah, she's easy. She's what about the wolf boy?
Yeah.
But
she probably doesn't even know his name. Jesus Christ.
Or what he looks like.
She doesn't, right. Yeah, because that makeup is so fucking good. That's true. Right.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, that stripper looks to me like a real fucking, like a real stripper I'd see at a random place out here that's over the hill and, slutty too, just like Harley. But at least Harley is young and, isn't over the hill with it yet. Right. That's what it is. Like I remember saying before that the girl in Part 5 is the hottest chick of the franchise. However, the girl in this movie is the chick I would like the most to bang, Harley. Just based upon her personality and her attractiveness.
And she dresses up like Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show. You love that. Yeah.
Right. You know what's funny though about this dude, the Wolfman? It's ridiculous. I don't give a fuck how much game you think you got. You never tell some other chick that you're hanging out with how much pussy you brought into your life. Never.
Yeah, but then as soon as he gets her in the van, all he does is start talking. Clearly, get her fucking naked, dude. That's all. It's like he clams up and just
I gotta piss. I gotta piss.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
He even said she said the talking's not working, and she jumped on it.
That's what we want. That's every man's dream, and especially in a situation like that. You're just picking up some chick at a party. Perfect.
If you get her in the van, talking is over, man.
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Anyways.
I just thought it was funny that he was going on more than once about the fucking... He goes, I've done all right. And then he goes, I brought so much pussy in this man. Like, really? Even if the chick's a dirty slut, you never talk that way to a girl in a situation like that. That could that's a fucking... that's a deal breaker sometimes,
Not her, man.
No, not her. Good old Harley.
I want to...
Ride the Harley.
Right. Right, that shit.
That's awesome.
You know what, Annie? I don't need your shit. You don't need my shit? You don't need my shit. I put up with your shit 24/7. You better back the fuck off. Or what? Huh? The fuck are you gonna do? You know what? You act like you're the only one whose life got fucking trashed. I am so not buying the new Lori act. I'm not putting up with your mommy shit. Get the fuck out of my room. Get the fuck out of my room. I'm not impressed.
I want to present something to you guys that I heard on another podcast, and this guy, he went to the screening of this movie in LA, and he saw the Q&A with Rob Zombie and the creators afterwards, and Rob Zombie was talking about how this was a difficult movie to make, and ultimately the movie on screen is not what he wanted to make, essentially, and he theorized that that the movie that Rob Zombie wanted to make, by the end of the film, they did a Fight Club scenario where Lori was so messed up that she was the killer throughout the entire movie, and that Michael wasn't even in it, and she just had. That's why she has all these visions. That's why she sees the mother and all this
she's
stuff.
Being held down by nobody.
Yes, she's so whacked out of her mind, and she has a split personality, and she's killing people and stuff like that. I thought that was an interesting idea. I don't know if I would have liked that movie, but it's a unique take, and I can kind of see elements of it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it looks like leftover script or something like that. But the thing is, the end had so much good, and what's good about it is when they play that song, Love Hurts, and they play it with, it's like a cappella.
Yeah.
They strip it down the same way they strip down the character of Michael. The mask comes off. He talks. He becomes human again, and he becomes what he was when everything started. And it's a stripped down version, and then the family's back together. Everything's back to basics again. It depends how you view that, because I know you guys don't like that whole ending.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
And the Fight Club situation could have actually worked. It might have been kind of cool, except the fact that she's just not big enough to fucking be doing all the damage that Michael does in this movie, especially the way these people got killed too.
Yeah,
that wouldn't hold water. But
yeah, that's just true. And I didn't get the sense that I don't know that she did pick up the knife after Michael was shot and walked over to Loomis, but I don't know. I didn't necessarily feel like she was going to, finish him off or anything like that.
I just think she walked towards him, but she wouldn't stop, and they told her to stop. I could be wrong. I just watched it last night. I don't even fucking know.
I don't think they gave her a warning at all, and I don't think she raised the knife. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
But what do you guys think about beyond that ending? Here's what doesn't make sense. She seems to be in like a mental institution or something.
Mm-hmm.
So shot so well that scene too.
I don't know. I think they're trying. Because another thing is that she looks like Michael did as a kid. I think in the first movie, like so much that the little grin she has, and her hair is in her face and stuff. I think they were trying to connect them, and I thought it was strange that at that point in the movie, at the end, Michael is not there, and it's just the mother and the horse and her, and so I don't know why. I feel like if it's all about family and stuff like that, that Michael would have been there too in some form, whether it be the child or the adult. I found that kind of strange.
Yeah.
It's definitely a kind of an ambiguous kind of ending.
It is weird that Michael's not there. It is weird.
I never realized that.
I just realized that, this time it's like, well, okay, the horse is back, and, that represents death, but this whole time it's been about joining the family back together, and seemingly at the end, that happens, but Michael is gone. So that kind of plays into my whole Fight Club scenario that I read about. So, I don't know.
Yeah, shit. That's weird, but I will say this: they do that a little, not even a little. They do it too much in the third act with the whole thing with the mother and the horse and the young Michael and the old Michael. It's overdone. The first hour and a half, because this one's also 2 hours. The moment we watched, it's fine. It's here and there, and we understand it. But it gets it completely takes over the last half hour, and it gets a bit much. Then we get into the barn or the shack or whatever, and all that shit goes down. But you know what I thought? I think at the end of the... do you guys think that she died, or do you think... I think she's in an asylum, and she's that fucked up that she is crazy now, and she's just as crazy as the rest of her family. They're all fucked up. And she's in an asylum, and that's just because she's fucking batshit crazy. That's what she sees. She looks up, and she has that smile, and she sees her mother, because that's who she connects with, because after all, it's her mother. And it makes sense that she's a Myers, too, because of her personality in part 2. And even part 1 with that fucking sense of humor with the donut and the shit like that. It's like she came from fucking trashy people like that, and it completely shows in this movie. Because she's like a trashy person in this movie, and swearing and the way she acts. So she's like one of the gang now. So do you guys think she died? Right? I don't know. What do you guys
Okay,
think?
I got something
died.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
I was hoping you were going to look nice.
Yeah. The police discover Michael's location and surround the shed. Loomis arrives and goes into the shed to try to reason Michael into letting Laurie go. Inside, he has to inform Laurie, who believes that she is being held down by younger Michael, that no one's restraining her and that she must maintain her sanity. Just then, Deborah instructs the older Michael it's time to go home. Okay, so far it's the same.
Yep, it's right on.
And Michael grabs Loomis and kills him by slashing his face and stabbing him in the chest. I don't recall what happened to Loomis exactly.
No, he made it outside. Yeah, he made it
Did
outside.
he throw it through the wall though?
Michael throws him out of the shack,
right, okay.
And then he gets up, and then Michael stabs him and says, "Die."
Okay. Yes, he does.
Stepping in front of the window while holding Loomis's body, Michael is shot twice by Sheriff Brackett and falls onto the spikes of some farming equipment.
Like fucking, like Friday the 13th, a new beginning.
Let's take a page from there.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's going to open up, and it's not going to be Michael. It's going to be fucking Roy.
Apparently released of the visions, Laurie walks over and tells Michael she loves him, then stabs him repeatedly in the chest and finally in the face. The shed door opens and Laurie walks out, wearing Michael's mask, and she pulls the mask off. The scene transitions to Laurie in isolation in a psychiatric ward, grinning as Deborah and the white horse stand with a white horse at the end of the room.
Okay, well, that makes more sense because I feel like she dies.
She does. She gets shot up in the one we.
Yeah,
she does get shot, but I don't necessarily think that she gets shot here, and she gets two, maybe 3 shots, and she falls back. It doesn't have to be death. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
A couple on the shoulder, maybe one in the leg. You don't see blood come out or anything. She just a couple of shots from the cops, and Loomis tries to stop the one, so maybe they're kind of like aiming not to kill, shooting not to kill. You know what I mean? And do you guys? So you guys, Matt, you said you think she died. Do you think?
Yeah,
she
that's
died?
how I took it because I felt like that would be the appropriate climax for all these characters. That Loomis, her, and Michael are all dead by the end. You know, to me, it would make a cohesive ending. You know, to this kind of Rob Zombie story that he did.
It looks very Asylum-like to me, so that's all I took out of it.
Yeah.
But you think that, Alex? You think she's dead also?
I thought so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she got popped 3 times. I mean, I don't know what kind of chick could take bullets like that in the stomach and chest like that. She's not, because in both endings, she's in an asylum. So yeah. I guess she's alive.
Yeah.
Sequel.
Yeah. I don't think we could stretch that out any further. That Laurie thing.
Oh, brother.
No, fuck that bitch anyway. What's her name?
Scout Taylor Compton.
Whatever. And by the way, the performance of the I don't like the new young Michael at all. The fucking not Dave Furch, but whatever the fuck the new kid is.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
He's terrible, and his delivery of the one line is the worst. And this is when Loomis is at the freaking screening and talking about Michael, and he shows, I'm here to inform you.
Oh,
mother's dead, and he just goes, it's okay, she'll be back. Real fucking terrible, matter of factly, just not the way you see things in movies. It should have been delivered like.
Right.
It's okay. She'll be back. You know what I mean? Something. Not just fucking like us here sitting talking. Oh, yeah, it's all right. She'll be back. I don't know.
Do you think that Scout Taylor Compton has the 3 name thing because of Jamie Lee Curtis?
That's why she was selected by Rob Zombie.
I wonder if it's really Scout Compton and they just threw that middle. Because that's not a middle name, right? It's a.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't think it's even because her mother's Janet Leigh and her father's Tony Curtis.
Yeah,
that's what I think. And they just did a clever thing where it's Leigh. It was her last name, but they go Lee as her middle name. I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah, there it is. It's a callback, like fucking like Carpenter did because he wanted Jamie Lee Curtis because of what's her name in Psycho. Yeah. He wanted to do the same thing. We're gonna have Scout Taylor Compton instead of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Stars Born. Holy shit.
What kind of dream? Was it a good dream or was it a bad dream? It was a good dream. A really good dream. You were dressed in all white, like a ghost. Like a really beautiful ghost. You were walking down this white hallway with this big white horse, saying you were going to come and take me back home.
Wish I could take you home, honey. I miss you there.
I miss you too.
Whenever you look at the horse, you can think of Mommy, okay?
Okay.
One other thing I want to talk about before we fucking wind this down is we talked about some of the music in the last segment and how they don't use the Halloween theme here, and how we feel like it works so much better for this movie to leave it out because it doesn't remind you of any of the older films. But one moment where I thought the music, and it's not really even music, it's more sound design. I believe it's when Annie Brackett gets killed, but there's just like repetitive noise, and at first you don't realize it, but it keeps happening and happening, getting louder and louder, and it's really, the sound is like a record skipping. And it creates this like heartbeat sound. Did you guys hear this? Because I thought it was brilliant, and it really it just drew the whole scene together to me. Did you guys recognize that?
The whole scene was so heavy. I just thought there was one more part to it.
Yeah, I probably took it in as a whole too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like a simple kind of sound, but once you start to isolate it, you realize it's a sound of a record skipping. And it creates like a beat, like a rhythm, and it works really good.
Like when a record is played all the way through and it's stuck at the end and it's doing the thing.
That's exactly.
That's pretty fucking brilliant to use as like a play on a heartbeat. That's cool.
Yeah, it works great. Yeah, let's fucking we're here at the end. Let's fucking rate this mother. We all talked pretty highly of it, but I say definitely peel this one back. It's definitely a great film. I don't want to necessarily say it's a great Halloween film because to me it goes beyond that. Right. And it's definitely a great Rob Zombie film. And I'm kind of sporadic with him as well. And this movie does a lot of great stuff, and I think we talked about that. But it goes a little too far in some stuff with the mother being played up so much and things like that. Maybe some of the kills were unnecessary and things like that. But overall, I really liked it. I'll say I like it. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And I say peel it back. Definitely. Check this one out.
Yeah, peel it back. I agree, of course. And we've said a lot of good things about it. And yeah, there's a lot to like about this movie, and it's vicious and it's intelligent, and the character portrayals and everything else very good. But the last, once again, the third act is kind of fucked up and a little confusing and everything else. But yeah, I like it. I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I like it. I think that when people watch this, they shouldn't. You just stop trying to write what should be done in your head. Just observe what's here, and take it for what it is. Stop trying to be like, oh, they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't. Like, dude, really, man? Like, you do that with every movie. I don't know what kind of experiences you're going to have in life watching TV or anything, but I think people just should stop. I think they do it because it's a Rob Zombie and it's a Halloween, so they think they have some kind of birthright to like think or like view something like that because you're loyal to this franchise. I think just watch and take it in, and I think it'll be a different experience for people who really hate it. I give this a 4 out of 5. I really like it.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite Halloweens. I think it's the third best one, probably, out of every single one. Probably 1, 2, 3, and then this one. This is the fourth best one, I think.
I might rate him the same if you think about it. 1, 2, 3, and then this one. I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never would have thought I said that at one time. You know? Yeah. But you know what I really like is at the end, when the credits do start to roll, that sequence, and they tie it and everything, they're showing flashbacks. None of nothing from part 2, everything from part 1. That's what I like about it being take it 1 and 2 as one long movie and just disconnect yourself from the rest of the franchise. Even though we didn't love 1, it's just that's what it takes, I think, to appreciate this movie. Even more so. You just got to separate yourself from, we've done 10 movies in this franchise, and this has been our retrospective. But truth be told, this is not really franchise movies, part 1 and part 2. These are Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
Yeah. You
can't really lump them in with that. And that's one of the things I think you have to do to enjoy this movie. And it's a damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. That was a great discussion, guys.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, that wraps up our Halloween, retrospective, and it's been a fucking great journey.
Happy Halloween, everybody!